Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Even Beaver Show. I am your host, Martin Matthews, and I always say I have a quick show for you, but today, for reals, I have a quick show for you, for reals, today. We're going to be in and out, we're going to get it done, we're going to talk about the fine print. And there's some similarities with last week's show, but I'm going to run the intro and then we're going to jump right in. All right, let's do this. Night, we can have if we play it cool. You the man say we can have just one thing, or we can have everything. This tune named Slow Down. And I've already Skip Marley for this one. Keep my alongside her. On this one, I've read them because nobody not really try to do them things anymore. Let me rephrase that. Nobody's trying to slow down anymore. You know what I mean? Nah, everybody just want to go fast. But I gotta play slow down for y'all. I'm gonna pull slow down because I don't know if everybody knows slow down. From top, Skip Marley alongside her. Slow down. Let me see if I can find my banner. We're gonna jump right into it. It's a quick show today, for real. Man said, darling, I care for you more than my own self. I don't know about them argument there. Darling, I share with you our comfort and wealth. Come on, Skip Marley. Give it to them, the man. Give it to them, the man. Easy self in my. The man said we can have one night, or we can have our whole lives. We can have one thing, or we can have everything. The man said, girl, slow down. I don't want to take it fast. We can do whatever we can do right now. You know what I mean? But we can take it slow and make something lasting. You know what I mean? All right, peoples, welcome to the Even People Show. We're going to jump right in. Today, we're going to talk about the fine print. Now, the fine print, for me, if I had to define the fine print, is going to be, let's see, the fine print would be anything, I think, that you take at face value, but when it became a time for you to apply what you thought it was, you realize that it was something else. So the fine print, as I am defining it, is anything you take at face value, but when you relied on that face value, you realize that it was something else, and you drawn into the fine print, and you realize that you're in a whole different sphere, right? It's a so let's get right in. A lot of the things are these things that I'm going to talk about in the first section of the show. Greetings, fun time with Alex, the best name on YouTube. The first set of things I'm going to talk about 5 or 6 of them, are things I can't name. I can't name them. I don't know. The last 2 shows I've had, the Evening People Show legal team has been on me, man. They'd be like, no, dude, you can't do that. You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't say that. Forget about it. But so I can't name names, but I'm going to name what these things do and what the fine print say they do. All right, now this one particular thing, which will remain nameless, is for, why is it hot? Oh, it's hot. Which will remain nameless is for pain relief. Okay, so it is for pain relief, um, but it's one of the leading causes of acute liver failure. So this is for pain relief. You go get an operation or whatever, this particular thing is given to you more often than not, but it is said to be one of the leading causes of liver failure. Now, let me ask y'all this that are on right now. I don't know if they do it everywhere, but here in America, when you get, and I don't know if they do it in every state, in my state, when you go get a prescription, especially from, say, one of the Walgreens or one of them pharmacies, they give it to you in a little paper bag that's usually stapled. They usually have something stapled onto the paper bag. Julian Lee, bless up yourself, my dear. And you should be able to vouch for this for me. You go get prescriptions, they staple it to they put it in a paper bag and staple some documents, some paperwork onto it. The paperwork is usually about the whatever drug you're getting, and it tells you quite a bit about it. How many of y'all read that? How many of y'all actually sit and read it? Or do you just, at face value, assume that the drug does what it says it does? How many of you read the fine print to see what else it does? Or what else is capable of doing? Or what else it's probably even highly likely of doing? Okay? So we said this particular one that we're talking about is for pain relief. However, it is one of the leading causes of acute liver failure. Now, if you're taking that, wouldn't that be something you probably think you should read in the fine print? 450 deaths per year are attributed to it, and 50,000 ER visits per year are attributed to the same drug. Like we said, on the surface, it is designed for pain relief, right? Wimba is saying she never reads the paperwork that it gets, but should you? Should you familiarize yourself with this fine print, or are you going to wait until you're in the ER and they tell you that it's a side effect and it was on the paperwork that they gave you, that this drug can do this? It says 25,000 hospitalizations per year are side effects of this drug. There is another drug that's for anxiety. It's an anxiety med, and it causes respiratory issues, and 16% of ODs are tied to this one drug. Now, we're going to talk about this because these jump out at you. When you think about fine print, you usually think about that. You think about contracts, you think about stuff like that. So we're going to put the obvious things out there first, and then we go, like we always do, we're going to mix it up and we're going to tie it to people and how fine print actually affects people in their everyday life, even as it relates to people in relationships, right? So here goes. Another one, and this is a medication which will remain nameless, is an anticoagulant. Now, an anticoagulant, I hope I'm saying that right, but an anticoagulant prevents blood clots. That's what an anticoagulant does. If you may or may not know that, it says we tend to blindly trust our doctors, but we should read it. We should read it, and it's like we're saying, these fine print things, these fine print scenarios. I'm talking about them because I always like to dig up things that we all do it every day, but sometimes we don't slow down long enough to look. We don't slow down long enough to notice. And this is something I felt deserved a shout out, these fine prints. Now, this fine print is for an anticoagulant, and it is linked to strokes, transient ischemic attacks, don't know what that is, heart attacks, some ventricular thrombosis. I hope I have a doctor in here. Pulmonary embolism, and fetal development. Now, you took an anticoagulant. You don't think the fact that you're pregnant, your fetus going to suffer? Pulmonary embolism, you don't think that going to come off that? I think I know what that is. I watch a lot of CSI and all these things. There's another one. This is an antidepressant. Now, this one was funny to me. This fine print was funny to me because this is an antidepressant, and one of the side effects is withdrawal. It's able to make the person withdraw. Now, how is it that you gonna have an antidepressant that's supposed to help you with your depression, but the side effect or one of the fine prints associated with it is withdrawal? That seems like the thing that you are getting it to do is the very thing it does not do, right? Now, and this one says you're 33% higher risk of dying dying. Your risk of dying increases by 33% when you take this medication. So you really have to ask yourself, like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing when we are opening ourselves up to these things without even reading what they're about, or without even taking the time out to read the fine print, or like someone pointed out, we're just taking these things at face value that what it says it is and what it says it does, what it is what it in fact does. In JA, many of these meds are dispersed without warning. You receive an envelope. Oh my God. You receive an envelope with your name on it. That's even worse because now you don't even get the fine print. And again, in these situations when you don't even get the fine print, like someone pointed out, you are at the mercy of the doctor. You are at the mercy of the advertisement that you saw on TV, and you just think this thing does what it says it does, and it might. Because you see, this show came about really. I was in the car with my girls, and we started laughing about it because in the ads themselves, they'll say stuff like, "This whatever drugs may lower your blood pressure, but it," and they read off the last bit. That's the fine print part that they're reading off in fast forward, right? Because they say it might do this, that. And if you notice this, that, call your doctor or dial 911, right? Um, and it's like what are we doing here? What are we doing here? We're setting ourselves up for all kind of things. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? Hang on, I see my comments coming in fast and furious. Let me get caught up here. Stacey is saying, isn't withdrawal one of the that's what I was saying, Stacey. That's exactly what I was saying. You're taking something designed to help you with a problem, and one of the fine print side effects of the issue is the very same thing you're trying to address. So what are we doing? Why are we taking it? You have this one. There's actually one antidepressant out there that causes suicidal thoughts. There's several of them. An antidepressant that causes suicidal thoughts. You're already depressed. You're taking an antidepressant to help your situation, not make it worse. And all we're saying is, how many of us take the time out to read the fine print? How many of us take the time out to make sure that at the very least we know what we're getting into? By the time I finish reading the fine print that we do receive sometimes, I don't even bother taking the meds because you're like, yes, I am congested, but I don't wanna have all these things associated with it. I don't want to have all these things associated with it. Facebook user says, hello, everyone. Hello, you Facebook user, you. Venice is saying that because your doctor should ask the patient the question, if ask the question to see if they can prescribe. But here's the thing, too. I don't know if it's me, but are checkups different than they used to be before? Because nowadays you go and they be like, uh, uh, them looking at your ears with something, them looking at your next ears, them say, right, breath out, in, out, and then they write one script give. That's about it. Some of them might be, and I don't know, maybe because me, I don't have a primary. I just don't. So whenever I need some, I go to like the center care or some place like that, or the ER or something like that. So I don't know if then when you have your primary doctor, a friend from school, a family doctor from a long time, they might take a more vested interest in it. But here, No, my girl, let me ask you two questions and move on. But you're correct. The doctor should ask some questions. But at the same time, too, you're just giving to the best of your knowledge. Some people get diagnosed with issues like cancer when they're at stage 4. They never know when they are stage 1, 2, or 3. You know what I mean? And they may or may not have seen doctors during that time until it get to 4. The side effects are more detrimental than the issue you had in the first place. And all I'm saying is, what is happening here with this fine print situation that they're getting over on us with? Bless up yourself, Maxi Kate Butcher. All right, so what else I got here? I have one that's for hypertension, high blood pressure. It causes cardiovascular issues, acute renal failure, prostate cancer, new onset diabetes, and all of these things are things that typically result in death. So basically, you're saying you're taking something for your hypertension, and the probability of you dying from it is just as likely as your hypertension actually being addressed at all. And it's like you're literally taking the pill and flipping the coin, because we have to look at it too. How do these things come about? How do these things come about? When, as to the knowledge that I have, when a drug is going to come on the market, they do trials for drugs. So somebody develops it based on whatever they think can do whatever, and they do trials. They do trials in certain countries, on certain people, on animals, and they see how it affects them. Now, as we've seen, not all the data is included, not all the data is excluded, and sometimes the trials have to be done multiple times, and there have been several instances where people have been sued and taken to court because they've skewed the data that they collected themselves, or that they had somebody independently collect. Now, that being the case, we're saying that, and here's what I think the biggest thing is. They are making sure that they cover themselves, because the presence of the fine print is just that. The presence of the fine print is just that. It is present. So if you read or don't read it, that joke's on you, because it's there. It's fine. Or if it's an ad on TV, they read that part of it fast, but they say it. They say it. So it is really up to you to do your due diligence and make sure you are reading the fine print, because I want to tell you this: the manufacturer is making sure that he is covered. And a lot of times, if you sue on court, that's why these class action lawsuits take forever, because they're covered. They put it on the writing. They put it on the bottle. Yes, it was in fine print. They never tell you if you get magnifying glass and read the fine print. Or yes, they might have said it very fast when they said that part of the ad, but they said it. If you don't read it, or if you don't take time to find out what they are, if it ever comes to where you become a victim of one of these things, you might find out that the fine print is genuinely not in your favor. Fun time with Alex is saying the funniest ones are those fine prints that say may cause death. Yes, may cause death. But here's the thing too: the thing that they are for usually says may too. So usually say this whatever drug may lower your cholesterol, but it may also, right? So it's not going to say it's going to. It's saying it's may, because in the trial that we did with X amount of people from the select group, we had varying results, and some of them did get that result. But what I can tell you right now is, if I go outside and give some fever grass and you drink it, it may lower your high blood pressure. May not, but it may. And if I sample enough people, I can start selling fever grass for high blood pressure, because literally the sample size that I took, I did see that in some of the people. See if I can get to read this here. It says they do blood work actually. It also depends on who your primary care doctor is. As a patient, I have learned to research my symptoms before even going to the doctor. And that's not a bad way to approach it, because I guess you have to see what and you see, it's like this. It's like me telling my daughters that if you're ever in a situation where you feel threatened, make sure political correctness goes out the door. Kick, scratch, scream, hit with everything and anything you can, as hard as you can, because sometimes political correctness or just feeling like you don't want to create a scene or ask a question sometimes make you end up in a situation you shouldn't be in. So really, like I said, a lot of the responsibility really lies on us. When we go to the doctor, ask the doctor the question. He is charging your insurance after all, and we all know that won't happen. Guaranteed. Ask him a question. Ask him 10, ask him 15, ask him 20. Ask him as many as you need to ask until you feel comfortable with what is happening. Don't just go to the doctor and be there and leave. And then when you left, you still don't feel like you saw the doctor because whatever was said and done there didn't actually give you what you went there for in the first place. Vinny saying pharmaceutical companies are just covering their asses to say you were warned, putting the onus on the patient. Exactly. So, like I said, even though they say it fast when it's an ad on TV, or they print it very, very fine when it's on the bottle or on whatever they have, they can say it's on there. And it was up to you, and they told you it had the probability of doing this, and you took it anyways. And the problem with clinical trials is that they lack diversity, especially us. We are not adequately represented. And this is a very, 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 very valid point. A lot of us are taking or have taken drugs where the results that were presented to get the drug passed after the trials, there was nobody like us in the test. In the sample group, we weren't represented. So how is it that we're not represented? Essentially, they don't know how this drug affects us. They don't. They're hoping that it does what it did with the other people that they tested, who for a multiplicity of reasons might respond differently to it than we do. And we just might become a statistic after the fact. Fun time, like say hello. Some of the fine prints are so fine, but that's what they want. They want it. They want you to not be able to read it. They just want to know that they print it. And if it comes right down to it, they'll sue whoever got the label on there because it wasn't them. They just sell the medication. Go find the printer. Do you remember the what that my grandma can't call them the big something there? The Tylenol epidemic in the 50s. It was given as a sedative to pregnant women to treat nausea and insomnia associated with morning sickness. However, women who were in the early stage of pregnancy gave birth to children with severe birth defects. And there's several other instances of trials that just went left. And there's several byproducts, like we're seeing, of some of these things. There's another one here for Parkinson's that causes lethal circulatory collapse, or systematic hypertension, or sudden sleep onset. I found this one interesting when I read it. One of the fine print that comes with this one is sudden sleep onset. Like literally, you'll just fall asleep. In Jamaica, we call it dropsy. Yeah, some people will just drop asleep. Only I don't know what causes it in them, but this is one of those fine print situations. In this situation, where they call it sudden sleep onset. Essentially, you'll be driving your car and fall asleep on the freeway. Like if that's probably one of the fine print you want to make sure that you're aware of if you need to take this drug. Now another drug is antibiotics, and we know antibiotics are used to treat bacterial infections. Fatal heart complications have derived from this particular one, and it said 27% increase in the risk of cardiovascular death. So if you take this antibiotic, it increases your risk by 27% that you will die from some cardiovascular issues, which is associated with this drug in the fine print. There's another one for schizophrenia. It can also lower your risk of suicidal behavior, but it causes two things we can't call myocarditis and cardiomyopathy. I actually think I said those right. I'm so proud of myself. I think I deserve a cookie. All right, so those are the drugs. Those are the things that we take that somebody developed, that they tried, they did some trial on, and they say it's supposed to help us with this, that, or the other. All right. Now let's break it down into some more everyday things. In fact, as I was gathering these things, I realized that this week's show is very similar to last week's show. A lot of the situations that we came upon last week, that we say we got punked in. Last week's show was punked. There, a lot of these situations can be also related to this fine print type thing. One of the things we spoke about last week was having insurance on your house and having hurricane insurance. And when the hurricane hits, the hurricane came with so much rain that the rain caused flooding. And the flooding is what in fact damaged your house. But because you didn't, the fine print, it tells you that they do not cover flood damage, even though you have hurricane insurance and the hurricanes brought the rain brought the flood. They will not honor your damages, because they will not pay for your damages to your house, because they're saying you did not have a separate flood insurance, and the flooding is in fact what damaged the house. And like we said, this fine print, as I am defining it, is those situations that you take on face value, that when the time comes for you to rely on the thing you took at face value, you realize that it's not as you thought it was, because there were some associated fine print, and you end up holding the bag, like having to pay for your house even though you have insurance, or them say they're gonna pay for the roof, but them not pay for the water damage, or them gonna pay for this, but them not pay for that, or them not pay for nothing at all, right? And that's how the fine print come in. Another fine print type deal is you going online and booking a flight. You go online, you book a flight, and you never scroll down to the bottom and read, say, your bag is not included. So you pack 2 bags and you go to the airport and you have your little backpack on. And when you get to there, they tell you that, oh yeah, you had the basic fare and it did not include your bags. And the bag is $65 for the first one and $35 for the other one. And you did not plan to spend this money because you did not read the fine print. But here you are now in a situation where you took something at face value. And now when you're relying on what you took at face value, you're realizing that there was associated fine print, and you now have to figure out what you're going to do in the situation that you find yourself in, right? Now, I spoke about pill bottles before. Another one I have here is a better job offer. You have a job, you get a better job offer, and it's a bigger company, it's a better company. They come with benefits, they come with 401k, they give you stock options, and then you go work there, and the people them will work there at the devil. Them terrible. They make you go home, go drink every night, right? Because what did not come advertised is the toxic nature of the interpersonal relationships that is within the company, or what their normal looks like, when they feel like they can call you on a Saturday evening and tell you that you have a meeting at 2 p.m. and you're like, whoa, I work Monday to Friday. Saturday is my time to go get my nails polished and my money, and that is the Saturday is the day. That was me rewinding the tape. Saturday is when I go get my money and penny, I get my facial, and get my this did and my that did. Don't call me on a Saturday, right? I don't care how much 401k y'all have. Saturday is my time. But that thing was in the fine print and you never read it. You're on call or whatever might make the person in charge think they can hit you up on a Saturday when it's not your thing. You know what I mean? The whole concept really of the grass being greener on the other side is really where that comes from. You know what I mean? Where you're here, you assess something over there as such, and you go over there. But when you go over there and actually get into the nitty-gritty of it, you realize that, whoa, what on earth did I get myself into? Now let's look at this. So Of course, we're gonna have to tie this back to, we're not gonna have a show on the Even People Show that talk about men, women shenanigans. That's just uncharacteristic of the show, man. So let's bring it down to the man and the woman now. The man and the woman situation as it relates to the fine print is you can't have multiple situations of this. You can't have when a man or a woman looks good on the outside, and then, once you get to know them, you realize that they trifling. You know what I mean? Like these boys would say, she was bad, dude. She was bad. You should have seen her. She was a 10. Right? Or a woman might see a man and she's like, yes, look at him. He's so fine. He's so this, he's so the other thing. And you met him and him is, when you get down to the fine print, when you got down to the what else lies behind your initial perception, you realize that the person is ugly inside. You know what I mean? Or the other things that are not. I dated online, man. I dated online. I did online dating. And you look at profiles and you see people and people look nice and people have nice photos. And then you meet them and you're like, not even second dating gonna happen here, because once you got a chance to know them, you realize that, the fine print associated with them, the actual facts about them, because that's what fine prints are. It's the actual facts about a situation. The actual facts about them are as such that you're better off leaving them alone and just leaving. And this could be, meeting a new person or being with someone and thinking you're going to leave this person for that person over there. You know what I mean? Grass, like we say, looking greener on the other side, and you come up finding yourself thinking like, I thought I was getting beauty, and I end up with the beast. Of course, you also have stuff like food items, that you buy, whether for weight loss or for, anything really that you buy. And you at face value took it as such, and it really wasn't. I want to tell you something that came to me the other day, one that caught me the other day, and if I had read, I would not have been caught by this, right? So what I did was I went to the Caribbean supermarket, which is where I go to get certain items that I need, because you can't get them in the regular supermarket. And I was looking for some Scotch bonnet pepper, because when a fireman look on my shirt. And there are some peppers out there from South America that they look identical to Scotch bonnet peppers, but they're not hot. They're not hot peppers, but they look better than Scotch, but they look more like Scotch bonnet peppers than Scotch bonnet peppers. They look good, right? And I bought a bag, went home, made something, put it in it. You know what I mean? And it's one of those dishes that I make that has 2 steps. So I put it in the pressure cooker first, and then I put it in the pot. When I take it out of the pressure cooker, you know what I mean? I taste a piece and I'm like, I don't taste the pepper at all. So I said, what's going on here? So I cut up some more pepper, put it in there, dish finished, still no pepper. Listen to me, I know pepper. At Jamaica, I come from, I know Scotch bonnet pepper. And these things look identical to Scotch bonnet peppers. But when I went back the next time, I saw where they actually had a sign there, and it said on the sign. But again, they have something listed up there. The fact that they're not hot was not as prevalent or as obvious on the sign. They know, essentially they know that they're deceiving people with this bloody sign, and they did it anyways. Let's see what Bree's saying. I always maintained that when you first meet someone, you are meeting their representative until they reveal their true self to you. And somehow Facebook users think it's funny that the people have tricked me with the wrong kind of pepper. But let me see what Bree said that. So I don't know, Bree. I think it depends on where the person is. But you are right, it does happen. A lot of time you meet people representative, because people tend to like to put their best foot forward. You know what I mean? And we all have our ideal self and our real selves. You know what I mean? And sometimes on the first meeting, you do a very good rendition of your ideal self. And when persons actually get to know you and the relationship kind of get more complex and now involve real things where your opinion is now more valid, when we're choosing things other than where are we going to go to eat or what are we going to do today. I mean, when you're now talking about finances and responsibilities and people doing what they say they're going to do, they're when people promise that they say they're going to do, um, and it could be simple things. It could be simple things. It could be you even dating somebody for a long period of time, but for some reason y'all always meet up at your place. You know what I mean? And then when y'all reach to a certain level, now you start go to their place and you realize, whoa, this person is a slob. They come out on the road, and when they see them on the road, they're nice, neat, tucked, shaved, sharp, but their house is a mess, right? So it's like you saw what you thought was there. You saw the advertisement and bought the product or took the product home, and you realize you just didn't get what you thought you were getting. I mean, the fine print was just very dissimilar from what you thought it was. So another thing I have here is buying a brand new house. Now in Florida, that's how we do. We buy brand new houses more often than not. Not everybody does, but Florida is building a lot of houses all the time, it seems like. So a lot of people have bought brand new houses here in Florida. I bought a brand new house. And you get the house and something goes bad on the house a year and a half in. And when you reach out to them, they tell you, oh no, we only warranted it for a year. And you're like, you warranty a new house for a year? How? So you're telling me that after a year, things are going to start going bad on a brand new house? This still makes no sense, right? Or a car or anything you buy brand new that you have a reasonable expectation that this thing should run for a period of time. It's like you buying a car and you think, say, yeah, for the next 80,000 miles, 50, 60,000 miles, all I really should do is change the oil and tires when I get to that point. But you're having all kind of issues. I remember that happened to me. I bought back in the day, wife number one, I bought a Durango. And this Durango, and we bought the Durango brand new. The Durango, the dashboard kept going black. Everything in the dashboard kept going black. So you'd be driving it, and mind you now, here's what you don't. You don't realize how much you depend on the things in your dash until the dash goes black. Because when you're driving on the highway in the night and the entire dashboard of your brand new car goes black, the car is running fine, everything else is fully operational, but you can't see anything in the dashboard. You don't know how fast you're going. You don't know. You can't see anything. Nothing in the dashboard that you would normally see, you can't see. And I went to that dealership like 4 times. And every time I went there, it would be on. And then I told him, dude, it happens. I'm telling you it happens. And they check and check and check and said, nope, we turned it, kept the car on and off. I left the car there, went to work, didn't happen the whole day. Pick it up, pick it back next day, nothing. Driving on the highway at night, boom, the whole. And the point being though, when you get something like that, something brand new, when you purchase something, anything, you have in your mind how long you think this thing should go before you actually have to think about it. And sometimes when it comes down to it, the fine print type things, if you're not very careful, you end up holding the bag for a lot of costs associated with things if it goes beyond a certain time. You know what I mean? Because if you don't file the claim, before everything goes wrong, then that is on you. Trickery and more trickery. All right, I have about 1 or 2 more for y'all, and then we're going to bounce. Car accident is one of them. You get in a car accident and you realize that your comprehensive insurance is not as comprehensive as you thought. We talked about that last week a little bit too. Building brand new house, appliances, food items, and so on. All right, that's it. That's what we had for that. All right, so I'm gonna read a poem for y'all and I'm gonna bounce. I hope everybody's having a good Sunday. Yesterday I had to bounce the show to today. I have my girls with me, man. And they were clingy, they were needy. They're like, Daddy, let's do this. Daddy, let's do that. What am I going to tell them? No, I like them. They're mine. So we did stuff. And I apologize. I had to switch up the time on y'all. But here we are. And I appreciate y'all. All right. So I'm going to read a poem for y'all. And then we're going to talk about it briefly. And then I'm going to bounce. And the poem I'm going to read is him, not the one you sing in church, but him like him. That boy there. That brother there. Him, CM1. Him. And there's some, I felt like there were some fine print in him. You tell me as I read. Reading obviously is coming from my book of poetry called Love, Life, Confrontation, Expressions, Selections from the Chronicles of a Black Man. The Chronicles of a Black Man. My next book, I think, is called Poetry, The Chronicles of the Modern Man, is what I think I called it. Because it deals with several more complex situations that we have to deal with these days, right? All right, check this out. It's called Him. I wrote Him in 2012. Believe it or not, this year what's the date? Oh my word. We're a few days from the 10-year anniversary of this poem. I wrote this poem 7/17/2012. Today is 7/10/2012. So this poem is actually a week from its 10-year anniversary. And it says him. Who's calling me? My job is calling me. Nah, I don't think I want to do that right now. It says, he loves hard and fast, but it doesn't last. He lives in the present, haunted by the past. His charisma and charm depicts him as knowing no harm. His river is silent and runs deep, capable of things he dares not speak. You see the fine print? He trusts very little but doubts a lot. Calculated yet simple, always picks the right spot. He is passionate in all his ways. You could listen to him for days. He has secrets no one knows. He'll give you a glimpse as time unfolds. He's been injured, scarred. He always has up his guard. His true self never revealed, not up for discussion. That case is sealed. He doubts anyone can comprehend, so he draws the line as friends. More fine print. Incapable of getting close, though he's more passionate than most. Incapable of being alone, always conflicted in his soul. He's a man set in his ways, speaks of wisdom, speaks with wisdom of ancient days. He's a friend of a special kind, always stimulating the mind. He is I am he. We will run. Hold on. He is I am him. We were one in the beginning, but too much has been revealed. This entry must be sealed. The end. Yo, I like poetry. I think I see why I write poetry. It's stimulating just a little bit. I like that a little bit. And I have no idea what kind of meds I was on when I wrote that. Like I said, this poem is coming up at its 10-year anniversary. But it's talking about him. It's talking about somebody that have all kind of fine prints associated with them. You know what I mean? It says he loves hard and fast, but it doesn't last. You know what I mean? That is like you think you see something, you think it is what it looks like. And then there are other things in here that talks about his charisma and charm, depicts him as knowing no harm. So this guy is swag. This guy is suave. This guy got some things about him, right? But at the same time, you can see that it's somebody that's severely flawed as well. You can see that it's somebody that is struggling with a lot of things. It says he's a man set in his ways. He speaks of wisdom and ancient days. He's a friend of a special kind. He always stimulates the mind. This is a smart, intelligent, charismatic guy. but they're hidden between the lines. You know, he has secrets no one knows. He'll show you glimpses as time unfolds. He's been injured, scarred. He always has up his guard. So even though this dude is like Mr. Charismatic, you can see that he has skeletons in his closets. You know what I mean? And if you end up with a man or a woman like this, you might be in for a treat. Now, mind you, I'm guessing all things considered, you could be the one that unlocks the key, because there are a lot of people out there that are hurt for a lot of reasons. And if coupled with the right person, they could actually build something special. But if you're not the right person and you're just somebody else that got swept up in the wave, then yeah, you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt on the back end. The thing that presented itself as charisma and charm, and it says he depicts him as knowing no harm. It says his charisma and charm depicts him as knowing no harm. His revenge silence and run deep, capable of things he dare not speak. If you get swept up in that, you're going to get washed away, and you're going to end up on a beach somewhere wondering what just happened, talking to a coconut and all these things, like whatever that guy's name was. Wait, Fun Time with Alex said that was nice. Did I miss that? Said that was nice. And Bree saying, if he has imprisoned himself. He wants to, but has hesitation. He has imprisoned himself. He has imprisoned himself. So I like that. I like that. I'm pondering that. So you're saying you think he has the whole set in his ways things is that the things that he is perceived as, he truly is, but because of his experiences, he's kind of boxed himself into that, refusing to evolve, refusing to develop, refusing to see what else there are, not open to change, maybe. Okay. I feel you on that. So I like that, Bree. She's saying it's someone that he's not open to change. So it's not that he is not able to. It's just that he is not willing to. So I think you're saying, put with the right person, there's capability for him to actually be what he presents as. He's emotionally unavailable. But it says he loves hard and fast. So is it that he's okay? So he's emotionally unavailable, but the charisma that he has, I guess, is what lures people in. And he, because of intelligence, which it implies that he has, he typically leaves people with a good memory of him. Like there's a line here that says, he speaks of wisdom of ancient days. He's a friend of a special kind, always stimulating the mind. So that sounds like the effect he leaves on people. You know what I mean? He leaves you thinking about him because of how he presents, because of just how he captures the energy around him. But the scars and whatever that he has are really affecting him personally. He's existing in a state of a paradox. There is no unity. He is stuck at a point of his pain or trauma and is practicing his version of self-preservation. And you have one witness here that's ready for the altar, Sean. Okay, she agrees with you. And I agree with you too. So wait, you're seeing Sean K and I'm seeing Facebook user. Not sure what's happening here. Sean K, that's you. You're Facebook user. Anyways, so he's a paradox. He doesn't have unity. He is stuck at the point of his development. I like all of you guys are so smart. I like that stuff. That's good stuff, guys. Good job, guys. Yeah, I like that. He's stuck. He's emotionally stuck. I did a show called that too. He's emotionally stuck. He's at a point where because of what he's experienced, he's now self-soothing in a dysfunctional way. Shauna, what do you think of that? I think that sounded very brilliant. Yeah. He is self-soothing in a destructive way. So the opening line says, he loves hard and fast, but it doesn't last. He lives in the present, haunted by the past. Yo, y'all are good. Y'all are good. Yeah, that's exactly what it's sounding like. It sounded like he's stuck. So now it's more of putting on a mask, like somebody mentioned earlier. He's putting on a mask, he's going out and he's performing, he's on stage. So he goes on stage and he does a performance and he woos and he invites and he excites whomever he comes in contact with, and then he walks away, leaving bodies in his wake. Um, and the poem is called Him. It's number 34 on this print of the book that I have. If it's not a 34 on yours, it's somewhere in that area. But yeah, that was Him, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the input from you guys. I appreciate you checking into the Evening People show today. If you don't yet have a copy of the book, check it out. I get amazed all the time. I get amazed all the time when I read this, when I read some of these poems. I'm gonna read something else for you. Not another poem. I'm gonna read what's on the back of the book. It says, "The Chronicles of a Black Man." Hold on, there's more comments here. Let's see what we have. Facebook user aka Shauna K says, he is self-soothing in a destructive way. That about sums it up. It's a travesty to withhold such passion because he's stuck. Wow. Sounds like he needs somebody's blue sofa to go work out some issues that he's having. And you see, sometimes, I'll observe things, I'll watch even things on TV, and some of these poems will come, and you just know that, hey, there's somebody out there that this is dealing with. Breathing, really know I see it you. I'm laughing with you. All right, so the back of the book says, "The Chronicles of a Black Man embodies a unique ability to put emotions into words. It is a compilation of intellectually riveting poetry centered around 4 topics. For women, it opens a portal into the inner workings of the masculine mind. It provides her with a bird's eye view of the male process of interpreting, his emotion and the thought processes behind his actions. It's a brilliant and orthodox rendition of the often unspoken words of love, sex, and relationships." And it goes on to say many more things, but I like the bit that says it embodies a unique ability to put emotions into words. This is what the comments that you guys just put out there made me think about. Is the ability to put emotions into words. It's feeling the pain, it's feeling the emotional stuckness, which I know is not a word. It's seeing somebody having a legitimate tug of war with themselves and kind of coining that in such a way that the reader can interpret it and say, yo, this person can identify with it because it's relatable. You know what I mean? All right, let's see what else I got here. The blue sofa. The blue sofa is a catch for them to collect information, to label you as someone of unsound mind. Be careful of the blue sofa. The poem was great. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you so much. All right, so no blue sofa. And make sure if they prescribe anything for you, you read the fine print. You might end up in a situation that you were not prepared for at all. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching the Evening People show. I'm your host, Martin Matthews. I hope you enjoy the show. I like putting on these shows for you guys because I think some of the things that are out there We need to spend time to just think about our surroundings, to think about what affects us, to look at the things that we deal with sometimes from the outside in and see what we see. What I mean? Slow down long enough to admire something. Slow down long enough to admire someone. Slow down long enough to take a chance. Slow down long enough to hope. Slow down long enough to do something that truly makes you happy. You know what I mean? This was the Evening People Show. I truly appreciate y'all. And we'll be back next week, probably on Saturday at our regular time, doing what we do. And until then, good night and be safe.